Okay, sorry about that. Crisis averted. It was our dryer, and I don't know what was doing. My son fixed it. So anyway, this is going to probably be part two. I'll try to figure out how to stitch them together. I just don't know. But anyway, here we go. That's just another pretty page with the Eiffel Tower. And these are regular journal pages that you can write on, because I like journals to be used as journals. And all the little envelopes are filled with ephemera. I love baby tags. I think they're cute. These envelopes are from chapter 1. And there are other pages too. Isn't that pretty? And what's really different about it is that you put these, fold those over together, and then you take that one up, and this becomes the inside. And this is some paper. There's something else in there too. That matches the front. And I'll put that back later. But seeing this paper pretty? Oh, and then back in 1927, I think it is, between 1927 and 1929, I can't remember, they had a huge meeting of the world's top scientists and physicists. And out of all the men that were there was one woman, and that was Madame Curie. And so I love quotes, and I found this quote that she said at this time, and it says, "Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more, so that we may fear less." Madame Curie. And one thing that she was going through at this time is that she was torn between the science and the laboratory that she loved, because remember, she found radium. That was an absolutely new element. They didn't know what to do with it. She is the one. And she eventually got radiation sickness, and that caused her death. But that's what she saw. But at this time in her life, at the time that she wrote this, she didn't know what to do. She wanted to go home and have a flower garden. And then she also had for her soul to be at the lab and doing this. And her husband worked with her in the lab. So I think that that's what she was trying to say. And I think it's always important that women, strong women from the past, speak to us strong women here in the present and to the future. So, this is from Proust. He says, "Let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom." And I don't think anything can blossom more beautiful than these pretty white peonies. And this comes from Boho Love. That's her channel, BOHO Love, LOVE. I love her stuff. But that's a little thing there. This is a French chateau with peonies. That's the name of the kit, and I thought it was perfect. And this is some Victorian paper that, again, I adjusted the size so that it would fit. And this is from that Paris thing from Boho Love. Now, when I've tried to print it on tea-dyed paper, but when I tea-dyed the paper, I left it in the oven too long, and the sides got kind of crispy. And so when it went through the printer, even though I had ironed it and got as many of the crispy bits as I could off of it, it got jammed in there. But I thought that just made it look a little bit old, and I think I like that. And so that's why I put that one in there. But you can write secrets over here. And here's some more pretty paper. This is from the Journal Boat, and it is Pink Mementos. I think that shop has closed, and she now calls herself the Journal Boater, Boater. She's from England, and I don't know if this is still available. I bought these a long time ago, and I love them and use them a lot. And so this is just, well, there you go. I'll stick that in there. That could be part of the ephemera. Well, and while we're looking at that, one of the things I had lost, right before we put our things in storage, I had purchased an original whale tail, and from eBay, and it was from Stampin' Up, and it was $90 because some of that was postage. And it was one of the things that absolutely could not be saved. It was so rusted that you couldn't get it to chomp, chomp, chomp. I was so heartbroken. But then I found, and I did put up a video on this too. I found some die cuts from on Amazon that you could cut one. But then I saw this on Temu. How about that? And it's the exact same size as the one I paid $90 for. I paid $12 for this one, but lately I've seen them. I saw the lowest price was like $8.50, and then I've seen them pretty consistently at about $10.59. So if you want a whale tail punch, and they don't call it because of the shape of the tab, the Stampin' Up punch had a big, it was like this, and so it looked like the head of a whale with a little tail in the back, and that's why it's called whale tail. But if you go to Temu, just put in the phrase whale tail punch, that's what it's listed under, and it works great. The only thing that's different is that on the Stampin' Up one, you would put in the piece of paper like this, and it had a long one. This one, you put it folded in, and you just adjust it under it, and then it pops out and looks like this, and it's perfect every time. I have had zero issues with it, and so I'm so happy to get that back. And so I thought I would pass that on. So yeah, and I also bought the tab one, because that one was ruined as well. And that one was like $20, but again, I got that one for $12 as a replacement, so I'm happy, and I like to pass on happy things. I have no affiliation with any seller on Temu, so I'm just telling you what I found. This is another of the gorgeous envelopes, and this has paper in it, but I'm going to stick this back in here. This is, yeah, it's got some pretty paper that matches the envelope in there. And I'm going to also stick, and that's a pretty page that you can certainly turn on the back. The same with this one. And I love this paper. Isn't that pretty? I have a kit, and it's got this pattern in 25 different colors. And so it's so much fun to use. There we go. And then over here is, and then the ballet was so big. And so these are just that you can write on, but I wanted to put there. I love doing this. I love, and if I tried to put a smaller one there, but it kept not covering her face, so I didn't want to do that. But you know, Pavlova is not just the name of a dessert. She was a prima ballerina from Russia, and she defected to France, and then she danced around the world. And let me make sure I didn't knock that out of frame. Yeah, I did a little bit, didn't I? There we go. Yeah, sorry, this is so hard. Please don't leave mean comments to anybody about what they do, you know, and you can't leave one for me because I probably agree with everything you said, but some of the things that people are saying are that your sewing machine is loud. Well, you should have all of your materials gathered before you start the video. Do you film in 1070? Because it looks a little fuzzy on my screen. Ugh. Only thing you can do for people like that, just pray for them, I reckon. But this is a pretty one too, and this comes from Janie B, I believe. And it's just a beautiful wallpaper pattern. And then this is timeless, and she's pretty. She just looks like she's from that age. And here's another, and it's got ephemera in that. And here these are ladies at lunch. And here's some more of this gorgeous Love Paris paper. And so that's why I just want, but aren't they pretty? Don't they look like these beautiful, rich French ladies who are going to lunch? This would be me, just out in the garden, just looking around, probably gonna have a tuna fish sandwich or something, but also beautiful pages. And they all coordinate so lovely with this kit. And I'll get that back later. So that's again a different page. And this one as well. This is full. I don't know what's in here. Oh, whale tail punches. Some small tags. And oh, isn't that pretty? Some paper. There's another tag. Things that just fell out. And you know, if you wanted to, if you decide to make one of these, a really cool looking thing, I bet, would be to make it into an ephemera holder. And it would just be for things like tags, I think, and you could put like a pocket here made out of vellum and just sew it, and then you'd have all your like labels and things like that. When I put these on, it helps for the pages because they're tall. I didn't mean to catch them in the back. I should have looked, but still, it's really pretty. Isn't that romantic? And then I think that she is gorgeous. I mean, just beautiful. She's a lady who lunches, that's for sure. And he looked at her the way all women want to be looked at by a man. F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby. And here we go. And then this just has a couple tags in it. I just made oversized tags and stuck them in there. And I thought that looked cute, but anyway, I will go around with that later. But I like that little clip out there. And she's beautiful, you know, she's been waiting. She shows up first, and there here are the other two ladies who are coming to lunch, and just more of this beautiful paper. What you can do, if you buy this journal, you can do whatever you'd like with them, put them wherever. I wanted to leave this pretty much as it was because of the look on her face. I don't know whether maybe she's at like the opera or something like that, the ballet, and she's paying attention to what's going on, but she seems lost in thought. And again, this paper is from chapter 1. This is something I found on the internet, so I copied it, and I used a thing to hold that together. And this has, I don't know why that's in there. Oh, I know, because I was going to make something with. That's why it's in there. It's not complete, so I'll put that back in there. It can be like a little booklet you can write on. But yeah. And the beautiful streets of Paris. Did you know that they were going to take the Eiffel Tower down? The Eiffel Tower, Tour Eiffel, was built by the engineer Eiffel, and for the World's Fair that went on in Paris, and I'm not sure the year, it was the early 1900s, I think, and they were going to take it down. And then somehow more tourists came to see the Eiffel Tower, and so she still stands today with the Tour Eiffel. That just about goes through my French vocabulary. Okay, so when I make journals, I don't sew them in. I use elastic, and it does look a little bit, and you have to do it, if you do it this way, you have to make sure it's really, really loose. I usually use thread elastic, not this thick cording, because I always put too much stuff in there, and it doesn't make any, it doesn't put a lot of tension on the papers. But if you want to move things around or add papers or take them out, all you have to do, let's go through one that maybe doesn't have, there we go, is take your hand underneath it and pull it out, and there you go. Or just hold this in your hand and you can put it in there. Easy peasy. And that's why I do it. I've been making journals like that forever, and usually just my yearly garden journal. Certainly never had thinking I would do something like this in my life, but it works well and it doesn't tear your pages. So let's get back on. This is the center. And who wouldn't go to Paris and not stop by Patricia? I certainly would. Sorry, there's a fruit by me of grapes. But isn't this lovely? Then you wish you were there in Paris. Oh. And this is me. I guess I would be in my little flower garden, not fancy at all, and then just walk down to the bakery. One thing that is coming of age for children in France during this time, and I don't know if it still is that when you got old enough to go buy the bread, you know, they buy bread every day, the big long baguette. And the child, when he reached about age 8, or then she would be entrusted with the precious money that they would spend on bread, and to walk to the corner bakery and buy the large baguette that was sometimes bigger than they were. But I think that's so sweet and such a coming of passage. And again, she's beautiful. This has stuff in it as well. Again with the ballet. And the last one from Henri. Love is when the desire to be desired takes you so badly that you feel you could die of it. And she is so beautiful, probably waiting for her suitor or husband to come home and greet her. And she's waiting there. And she's beautiful. And this is just a simple little tag. I love this paper. It's the same kit, Love Papery, but she put some blues in there. Oh, Love Paris, I'm sorry. And this is more of that lovely paper with just a little tag and some ephemera stuck in there. And that's a girl with attitude. And some more little ephemera to pop down in there. Aren't these pretty? That kit's called Pink Roses. And I love it. I think it's beautiful. And these are just another pocket on the pretty paper. And let's see. Oh, here's an envelope that's got ephemera inside of it, a postcard, another tag, and just one little line. I think it's gorgeous. Same thing on this page. Just more ephemera and the pretty pages. I don't know what it is with bicycles, but there's a lot of ephemera that I've seen from France with the bicycle on there. So I wonder if that was a big deal back in the day. And then that's just another really pretty page. And I put a long pocket in there because I had this and I didn't know what to do with it, and I didn't want to just, stick it in my recycle bin. So, it's my favorite page of hydrangeas, and so I put it in almost all the journals I make. And then here's another tag from that series from Yvonne Preston, and you can write on the back some more of that gorgeous mint green wallpaper. And this is the Moulin Rouge. You couldn't come to Paris after World War I without going to the Moulin Rouge. And of course, they would, by the end, the dancers by the end of the night would be only wearing a smile. But when you come into Paris, and this has got the boogie, horse and boogie. I'll put that up so you can see it. And the ladies in their long skirts. And just really, really something. And I made that little pocket, and this is just a little booklet I made. Those are chapter 1 papers. And there she is, dancing. And the Can-Can girls. The Can-Can girls kind of went out of style because the Second World War came, and it was horrible in France. But I took ballet for 23 years. I am not good. I don't have a body for it. I have really short legs and a long torso. But I loved it, and I loved watching the people who were good do ballet. And I did a night class after I had moved back to Richmond to start my career in litigation and after college, but I still wanted to go. And I went at night, and there was a little kid in there. He was 11. His name was Philip, and he was incredibly gifted. And so now he is the creative director, because he was the male star for years and years and years. I think it's the Joffrey Ballet in New York City, and he's amazing. And now he is the creative director. I think it's the Joffrey. I'm not sure, but that's a postcard that had the famous Moulin Rouge and some more of our little can-can dancers. Look how much fun they're having. And see all the different men. They're men in suits and hats and top hats, and then just your regular guy. And somewhere in there is F. Scott Fitzgerald and Toulouse-Lautrec. They were great friends. And I will tell you about her in just a moment. So here's some more just little ephemera. And this is what Henri Toulouse-Lautrec would paint. He painted the posters. And the posters were such a big deal. And if you can see here, see how they're all up on the billboards and in the windows, and they would go in certain windows around the city. But aren't they beautiful works of art? And now this lady right here, it's not a very good picture of her, but she was the queen of Moulin Rouge. She was the woman they all came to see. And then, as fate comes to all of us, she aged out, and a new younger model came. And I've always wondered whether the movie Moulin Rouge was based on part of her life. Nicole Kidman played one of the featured dancers, so I don't know if it was supposed to be for her. Here are just some more of the. Look, these girls are dancers. They're not just women out there looking for money. Look how they do their legs. And then this is also one of the fancy costumes that they had. And so I just wanted to put that in there because you can't really pay homage to the 1920s French without saying hello to. And here's another beautiful poster. Aren't they just wonderful? And they had a matinee. And I don't think that this was from Toulouse-Lautrec. There was another guy there, Gibbons, something like that. He painted a lot as well. But there's a quote on the back, so let's see what I wrote. And so, with the sunshine and the great bursts of leaves growing on the trees, just as things grow in fast movies, I had that familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer. And that's from The Great Gatsby. And we are at that time, and I hope that we can have peace, that this will end up being a year that started at war but ended in peace for all people. And just some more of these papers, the backside. And this is also a really important quote, I think, from Madame Curie. And I'll read it for you. It says, "Life is not easy for any of us. But what of that? We must have perseverance. And above all, confidence in ourselves. We must believe that we are gifted for something and that this thing, at whatever cost, must be attained." And this is when she is grappling with the fact, should she go home and be a wife and work in her garden? Or should she go and do more experiments and learn more of the radium element that they found? And she chose radium. And so I think that's what she was thinking. And during this time, and I love how we can, again, get coaching and information from the strong women of the past to talk to us today and in the women that we will raise as our daughters into the future. And you know what? Because life is not easy all the time for any of us, no matter what status you are in life. And sometimes it just needs to know that if we're given a talent, then we have to believe in this and go. I never, ever believed that I could make paper journaling. I loved it. I was just, I know what a digital kit was. And Rachel, I say this all the time, but I owe her so much. This is when she was first starting out her challenge. And she was so, not just for me, but for everybody. And she taught us how to go and find digitals on Etsy and use them. And then she began to make them. And then now her husband works on them with. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And that's the back half of, but that's a different one of the chateau. And just more of this and a postcard. This is you can write on the back of both of these. And here's a little page you can write on. And there, this is more pink memento, as is that. This is Timeless Romance. It's called Timeless Romance. And then, I'm not sure where that one came from, to be honest. It might be, it's not from Love Paris, but it also might be from Antique Papery. And then here are these little, I have a whole bunch of these little cards I found in a kit. So I printed them all out, and they are scattered in some of the envelopes. And here's the valet again. And just a big tag that you can write on the back. But look, isn't this beautiful? And we can use the tags and look at the pretty pages all at the same time. We're getting near the end. And I love these pages. And I love that page too. It's great to use. You could put a pocket in like that. But these are both good. And it's such a pretty page. And it had another little tag on it. I don't know where it is. And this is an envelope. I might put the tag out and put it in here. I just thought that was so lovely. And this is from the Journal Boat Pink Mementos. And as you can see, it is full of ephemera. all kinds of stuff. The Rococo Marie of that time. And I thought that deserved a spot in there. And then you've got a little place to write and a pretty little postcard. I know, what's the wrong without ephemera? You know, that's how we buy them. That's how we make them. That doesn't mean that's how we know how to put them back in the envelope, does it? Put it in there. So I've wrapped this around this page. Now, this page is a wraparound. And I went in and I put in some lines here to help it go around because it's not big enough to go around the whole way. And I needed it to be able to hold the other pages together. So that's something that you may want to consider doing when you make your own. If I didn't have so much ephemera in here, it wouldn't do it. But I do. I have a lot of ephemera in there, and that's the way it needs to be. Let's see here. We put this back so I know where it is. And put her back on there. There we go. And like I said, this is just a construction idea. You don't have to do that, but I think it does better. But because I believe in writing journals, and that's what mine are for, I have to put in a writing page. And so I made this booklet of beautiful, beautiful papers that you can write down your thoughts, quotes, anything you like. And I just sewed the middle. Now when you sew, this is a tip from Wendy, the wonderful, wonderful Wendy of Wendy's Journaling Adventures. When you sew this, she said you'd put in, and she's right, a 5-inch seam, that's what you call it. The stitch length is 5, and then that way it doesn't want to tear so much as being perforated. And so that was a great, I heard that years ago and I've used it, and she was right. And just one more pretty, pretty paper. And there she blows. That is all for her, and we are done. I know you're really glad me not talking so much. But yeah, so if you would like to purchase this wonderful little journal and help me get my cat spayed so we don't have so many kittens running around, that would be great. You can just send me an email. My email is freeartscrafting@gmail.com, but I'll put it in the description box below. And I'm going to have to set up, I think, an Etsy shop, but if I can sell them now, it'll be a little bit cheaper than having to put them over there in Etsy. I also ship to anywhere that takes mail from the United States. So that is all for today. I'm sure you're thinking that's enough. This girl talks way too much. But isn't she pretty? And I'm going to put up another one when I finish the blue one. And then I'm going to, because I need to get subbies, put up a giveaway pretty soon, so I'm working on those things. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is put up a tall and skinny journal and really, really pack it full of ephemera, and also share a lot of the laces that I got from my lace haul. So for other people who are having trouble finding those these days, they're not as, and the stuff they make today is not as good quality, I don't think. But yeah. So check back then if you will, and if you would subscribe, I would appreciate it so much. And until then, stay safe, be well, God bless. Thanks for stopping by, Patricia. Bye.